Jaya Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Jai Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jai Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
नाम संकीर्तनम की
जय,
श्रील प्रभुपाद की
जय,
गुरु महाराज की
जय,
परंपरा की जय, संतराज श्रीमद भागवतम की जय, समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, असेंबल डिवोटीज की जय. हरे कृष्णा.
कृष्णदास प्रभु जी की जय.
जय
की जय.
गुरु महाराज की जय, असेंबल डिवोटीज की जय.
Krishna, you all
Hare
devotees.
Krishna. Prabhuji, one doubt. It is Smith has joined or any of his parents? Is it? Okay. Mataji? Nithilela Mataji?
Yes, Nithilela
Okay.
Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Srimad Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna. Welcome all devotees for our Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Daily Srimad Bhagavatam reading morning session in English. Hare Krishna. So I think the Eid holiday started, so we can expect Shivagada Prabhuji and Sudarshan Vasudev Prabhuji daily, at least for 4 or 5 days. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Shivagada Prabhuji, welcome. Lucky.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, and the pronouns to you and all assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhu. So, as usual, I think yesterday it was, we have started the new canto. So, first chapter, first one verse also completed. Now, I think from this canto onwards, there is an introduction for each chapter, I think. So, there is an introduction, and the first verse also was read yesterday. So, today we will start with verse number 2 onwards. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudire. Nashtaprayeshu Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhavade Uttamashloke Bhakkar Bhavadi Nashtagi. Mugam Garodi Vachalam Pagbulange Yadegiri Yatrvadam Mande Paramananda Madhavam. Sri Gurum Dinadarinam Sri Chaitanyamishram. Om Jnana Vedantasya Jnananjana Shalabhya Chacharu Milidam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Madhavishtam Stabidam Yena Bhutale Swayambhu Bhagavadam Dadanti Supadandigam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Udavadagamadam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagarjadam Saganadhanidam Samsadina Sadvedam Savadudam Prachanasikitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Vadan Saganalada Sri
Prabhu,
Vishal.
echo is coming. Maybe your YouTube is also.
No.
Hare Krishna, I didn't feel. Please continue, Sri Kumar Prabhu. We'll check whether echo is there or not.
Okay. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagalpadi Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namaste.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Shivana Prabhu, it's okay for me. I don't know for others and you. How is it? Is still okay? Echo is there?
No,
No, sir.
Prabhuji.
No, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
It's okay.
Prabhu. Now it's okay. Now it's
Okay.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you. Please continue.
Saptaganjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanasute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhya Chakrabha Sindhubhya Vajapatidanam Bhavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Pudale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nidinamini Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatyade Shadarini. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gauravakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Pudale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Majari Vadai Vadai Guru Padaya Nagavira Gadadha Madai Nagaraki Rama Dharine Yavadaga Swami Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Once more, welcome all devotees for our Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So the new canto, the creative impetus. It is entitled as Creative Impetus, and first chapter name is King Priyavrata's activities. Right, Madaji? Yes. Okay, Hare Krishna. So Sambhaji reading.
Yes, Prabhu. I will read this. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 1, text number 2. Nanunam mukta sanganam, nanunam mukta sanganam, taddarshanam dijarshabha, taddarshanam dijarshabha, griheshva abhiniveshoayam, griheshva abhiniveshoayam, pumsam bhavidum arhati, pumsam bahidum arhati. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charna Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation: devotees are certainly liberated persons. Therefore, O greatest of the Brahmanas, they cannot possibly be absorbed in family affairs. Purport. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that by executing devotional service to the Lord, one can understand the transcendental position of the living being and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be understood by any means except bhakti. The Lord confirms this in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.14.21. Bhaktyaham egaya grahya. Only by executing devotional service can one appreciate me. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita 18.55, Lord Krishna says, Bhaktyamam abhijanadi. Simply by discharging devotional service, one can understand me. Thus, for a bhakta to become attached to family affairs is impossible, since a bhakta and his associates are liberated. Everyone is searching after ananda or bliss, but in the material world there can never be any bliss. It is only possible in devotional service. Attachment for family affairs and devotional service are incompatible. Therefore, Maharaja Parikshit was somewhat surprised to hear that Maharaja Priyavrata was simultaneously attached to devotional service and to family life. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, devotees. I'd like to welcome Shogana Krishna Prabhu for the explanation.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
I'd like to welcome Prabhuji by chanting Harinam 3 times. All are requested to chant enthusiastically by unmuting themselves. Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Rama
Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So thank you all devotees for giving this opportunity. So I'm not qualified because devotees are requesting. So I will share whatever my understanding, which we are reading in these verses. So today we are actually discussing from the new canto. We completed the 4th canto, and this 5th canto we are beginning. This 5th canto has 2 main important themes. One is regarding the dynasty of Priyavrata Maharaj, and then about the main important thing is about the geographical structure of this universe. That is the main significance of this 5th canto. So our complete universe, the planetary systems, the distance between how the Bhumandala is situated, all those things are very detailedly described here in this 5th canto, in continuation with this Priyavrata Maharaj activities, because it was Priyavrata Maharaj who actually divided. You can see, if you see there, if you further will read this, we can understand that Priyavrata Maharaj only actually divided the Bhumandala into 7 islands and 7 oceans. Okay, and then he appointed the sons as the rulers, and finally retired for spiritual perfection. So, continuation to Priyavrata Maharaj, actually we can see that that geography of the universe is very detailed described here. So it's very technical part in the later section. So we, his days, Pavaneshwar Prabhu, he taken class for us during this COVID time, some special sessions about this geographical structure of the universe, cosmological. It's called Vedic cosmology. We did a very wonderful class, and there is also a book for this for regarding Vedic cosmology. And in our temple of Vedic Planetarium, which is the largest Vedic temple in the world, built in Mayapur, West Bengal, India, the chandelier will be is planned to design according to this Vedic cosmology structure. So once that is being installed, also you'll get a practical glimpse of how what Srimad Bhagavatam describes. So the first section of Srimad Bhagavatam, as we read now, today is going to discuss about the dynasty of Priyavrata Maharaj. So just if I will share the screen, maybe if you can see this, 1 minute. I don't know how much, it's very small only, but you can again see here. This is the whole family tree or Srimad Bhagavatam family tree. Here you can see Priyavarta Maharaj. He is son of Swayambhuva Manu. This brother Uttanapad. Uttanapad, we already know that's Dhruva Maharaj story, where he married Surichi and Surichi. So we are coming to Priyavarta Maharaj dynasty now. So Priyavarta Maharaj, if you see here, he's having one daughter and 13 sons. Out of the 13 sons, 3 sons became sannyasis, 3 became manus, and 7 became rulers of 7 islands. So this is how he made this Bhumandala. He made this 7 islands, ocean, and given to the 7 sons. And following in their family lineage is one of the 7 is Agnidhara. And then the Agnidhara got 9 sons, and the oldest of 9 sons is King Nabi. And from Nabi, my wife Merudevi, Rishabhadev comes. So Lord Rishabhadev is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has given a lot of wonderful teachings, Lord Rishabhadev teachings that will come from the 5th chapter of 5th canto. So Lord Rishabhadev teachings is like very powerful teachings, especially if you want to develop in Bhakti. Rishabhadev is giving his teachings to his sons. So he had 100 sons. So before giving the kingdom, he is giving the instructions to his sons, spiritual instructions. So this is how this whole the Priyavarta dynasty goes, Rishabhadev, and then the Navayogendras that we will discuss in the 11th canto. And Bharat Maharaj, we all know the Jada Bharat. Jada Bharat is actually, Bharat Maharaj is a son of Rishabhadev, Lord Rishabhadev. So this is the Priyavarta Maharaj dynasty. So continuation with that. We can see here Priyavarta Maharaj. He was although he was very much renounced, but he was not interested in family life. But Lord Brahma requested, because the kingdom was vacant, so Lord Brahma requested that you should become the king. So based on the, Lord Brahma is a Mahajana, based on the superior authority instructions, he accepted the family life, and then he divided the Bhumandala into 7 oceans and 7 islands. And then what he did, he ruled the kingdom, and he given this each island to one of his sons. Then he retired. He, as usual, as all the Kshatriyas, they retire after a certain period of time. He also retired, and then he went for a spiritual life, progressing in spiritual life. Then all the sons, they started ruling this different Dvipa, Jambu Dvipa. The first son of Priyavarta ruled Jambu Dvipa. The first son of, then the lineage goes, that we will discuss later. What we are going to discuss is today only verse number 2. So what is verse number 1? So King Parikshit actually is inquiring from Sukadeva Goswami, "Oh great sage, why did King Priyavarta, who was a great self-realized devotee of the Lord, remain in household life, which is the root cause of the bondage of karma?" Samsara Sagara, they say. Samsara Sagara means it is an ocean, material ocean, where it is very difficult to escape. So which defeats the mission of human life. So this was the question put by Parikshit Maharaj to Sukadeva Goswami. How such an elevated king, who is already self-realized, has come to this platform of getting entangled with this samsara chakra. So how did he enjoy this household life? Because here Parikshit Maharaj understood that the household life is, Prahlad Maharaj also says, Grahamanda Kupam. The family life is like a blind well. Even though we want to develop spiritually, there are a lot of stumbling blocks when we take up a family life. Whereas somebody who is in renounced order, for them it is very easy. So one time, it happened that Prabhupada was giving an interview, and the person who was talking to him, he said, Prabhupada, like he was asking, he was not a devotee, he asked him, like, you are preaching, why did you take the sannyas order? You can always be with your family and also preach very nicely. Like that, he was discussing with Prabhupada for quite some time about Krishna consciousness in America. So then Prabhupada, when he was talking to him, he got 2-3 calls that, he was getting disturbed. Then Prabhupada asked, like, what is the issue? Then he said, my wife is calling. So then Prabhupada said, this is the thing, if you want to see, I am sitting here without any problem. I am preaching, there is no disturbance. But for you, there is so much disturbance. So that's the reason I have taken like sannyas, so that I can give my full time for Krishna without any kind of hurdles or so. So in that way, that sannyasi or brahmacharis, they don't have much challenges to face in this material life, except they need to control their own desires. Only that is a challenge. But as grahasthas, they have so much responsibilities, commitments. So then naturally they get entangled with the material enjoyment and sense gratification and they accept it. So that was the reason why Parikshit Maharaj asked, he was an elevated devotee, how come he got entangled into this family affair? Now for that, actually Sukadeva Goswami, no, still Parikshit Maharaj only is telling Mukta Sanghas, telling devotees like him who are free from material achievements cannot be possibly absorbed in family affairs. So then Sukadeva Goswami starts replying from the verse number 5. So there are actually two questions from verse number 1 to verse number 4. Parikshit Maharaj is asking two questions. One question already we discussed, first two verses. And the fourth verse, the first three verses are first question, and the fourth verse is actually another question. Then from fifth verse, Sukadeva Goswami will start giving reply about about the glories of devotional service and why he was accepted, because it is on the request of Lord Brahma, because to take the responsibility of the kingdom so that the citizens will be very happy. So that is the whole background of this discussion. So here again, this is part of the Parikshit Maharaj's query. Devotees are certainly liberated persons. We all know that. They are already liberated because they enjoy their karmana, manasa, vacha, their activities, body and words in the service of the Lord, even though they are in the iha yasya harer dasya, karmana, manasa. So it is said in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that even though they are in this material world, they are still considered to be liberated because they are always engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, greatest of the Brahmanas here refers to the Sukadeva Goswami, they cannot possibly absorb in family affairs. So we'll go to Srila Prabhupada purport. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that by executing devotional service to the Lord, one can understand the transcendental position of the living being and the supreme personality of God. The supreme personality of God cannot be understood by any means except bhakti. So Srila Prabhupada gives us two references for this, because when the acharyas speak, Prabhupada never speaks his own personal interpretation. He always refers to the scriptures. Because bhakti, whatever, when we want to understand the Lord, it is through Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So what the Guru also takes, he does not speak on his own. The Guru speaks from references from the Shastra. So Srila Prabhupada never he said that this is my opinion. In my opinion, it is like that. He always quotes, whether in his lecture or in his books, writing books, he always quotes the references. Like you go to a court, there is a legal case. So you cannot tell your opinion. You have to quote the law. What is the penal code? Then only you will get whatever, proper justification. So without that, we cannot get the response. So similarly, Prabhupada here quotes from the Shastra, from Srimad Bhagavatam, one verse is quoting 11.14.21, where it is said that Bhaktyaham ekaha grahaya, means only by executing devotional service one can appreciate me. So by only devotional service we can understand the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And continuing further, also he quotes a reference from Bhagavad Gita, the very famous verse, Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha. So that means only by bhakti, the word is very clear, bhaktya, by devotional service. Mam means Krishna, abhijanati means one can understand me as I am only by devotional service. Then what about other people who are not taking bhakti yoga, they are taking karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga? What is their result? They can understand the Lord, but in the partial realization. Either they can understand Lord as a Brahman feature, or they can understand Lord as a Paramatma feature. But in order to understand the Lord as he is, as a Bhagavan feature, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only through devotional service it is possible. That Krishna himself declaring in both Srimad Bhagavatam as well as in Bhagavad Gita. So simply by discharging devotional service, one can understand me. So we can understand how much we are fortunate. We have taken the direct path instead of going to karma yoga, jnana yoga, or doing some kind of meditation and wasting our life. We are so fortunate by mercy of the Lord, and mercy of the Acharyas, and mercy of Srila Prabhupada. We have directly accepted this path, which is the direct path to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So simply by discharging devotional service, one can understand me. So Prabhupada also quotes practical example that Prabhupada says in America when he is preaching. He said these boys, these American boys and girls, they have never heard about the name Krishna in their lifetime. They have never heard about Krishna because they are born in the Western world. They have not heard. Maybe Jesus Christ they might have heard because Christianity is predominant there. But even by accident, they have not heard Krishna's name till Prabhupada reached to America. But as soon as Prabhupada reached and he given this knowledge, transcendental knowledge, and encouraged them to do chanting, they immediately surrendered their life to Krishna. That's what he's saying. See, that the power of devotional service is immediately as soon as you take up the devotional service, the Prabhupada writes here, it is in the beginning of the purport, by executing devotional service to the Lord, immediately one can understand the transcendental position of the living being, that I am Atma, and the Supreme Personality of God. So that was very practical. Anybody who takes up devotional service, they will understand that I am not this body, I am spirit soul, and also they know that I am part and parcel of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. This is the effect of devotional service. And one will gradually develop attachment for the lotus feet of Krishna. Thus, for a bhakta to become attached to family affairs is impossible. So, as much as we are attaching to Krishna, naturally there will be detachment from family affairs. It is not that we will run away from family. It is actually detachment means we fulfill the responsibilities of the grahastha, but at the same time, we are not entangled into the enjoyment mode. Enjoyment mode. Grahamanda kupam. The devotees are not entangled into the enjoyment mode within the family dealings. Since a bhakta and his associates are liberated, as I said that karmana manasa vacha. So if we are iha esya hare dasya karmana manasa vacha, so the bhakta and his associates are already liberated. And Prabhupada writes here, everyone is searching after Ananda. You all know that in this material world, everyone is searching for happiness. Today, whatever it is, whether posting the photos in Instagram or Facebook or whatever, no, people want to show that they are happy. Whether they are happy or not, at least they want to show that they are happy. And everybody want to put their profile picture also in a very smiling. Nobody puts their profile picture in a crying mode. No? Everybody puts their profile picture, the good picture, which is smiling, looks nice. Because basically we are looking for happiness. In whatever we do, whatever activities we do from morning, early morning, getting up to going to the bed, every activity is targeted towards experiencing this happiness. And in this search, actually, what happens? By materially doing, but in the material world, there can never be any bliss. If this we are convinced is one line statement of Prabhupada, we can save a lot of our time. Because if you are convinced, we will not waste our time in this material world to search for happiness. Because if I know it is not there, why should I put time here? Because it is going to be waste of my time. So if somebody is convinced with this statement of Prabhupada, then his time and efforts will be saved. Rather than that time and efforts, he will put for spiritual progress. So, very important statement. Everyone is searching after Ananda or bliss because that is our nature. Ananda Maya Vyasat Satchit Ananda. Our nature is to be happy because the soul's nature is Satchit Ananda. But it is searching for right, goal is right, but searching in the wrong place because material world, there can be never any bliss. Temporary some happiness can be there. It is only possible in devotional service. Devotional service by bhakti only we can experience happiness. How by bhakti you can experience happiness? Because there is reciprocation from the Lord. When there is reciprocation from the Lord, because everybody here needs somebody to take to have some love, care, and attention. Even within family life, what we expect, the husband expects that wife should be very loving nature, and the wife expects the husband should be very loving. Two things, loving and caring. But often in this material world, that expectation is going upside down. We are expecting loving and caring, but does not happen in material life. Because everybody has their own problems. Sometimes they get angry, they get upset. And so what love and care we expecting in this grahastha life, we will not get. Because of these threefold miseries, Advaita, Klesha, Adi, Bhautika, Adi, Devika. And even if you get love and care, somebody may pass away early. They may leave their body. Then where is the love and care? But Krishna can give that love and care eternally. Because he is eternal, we are eternal. And that bond can be never broken at any time. Even if you want to break this bond with Krishna, it is not possible for us. It is not possible. Temporarily, we may forget Krishna, but the bond can never be broken because we are eternally connected to him. Okay, so by performing this devotional service, Bhakti Yoga, to the lotus feet of Krishna, we can experience the love which Krishna, we can experience that. So we have to understand that God is everywhere, but only the devotees are able to perceive the Lord by Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, Santa Sadaiva Hrideshu Vilekayanti, Tam Shama Sundaram Guna, Tam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So if we anoint our eye with the prema, love of the Lord, then we can see Krishna everywhere. Otherwise, Krishna is there, but we cannot see. That is the difference. That's why atheists are claiming that there is no God, because they don't have any love for God. Whereas devotees are able to constantly see the Lord because their eyes are anointed with the love. So attachment for family affairs and devotional service are incompatible. This is another important statement. You can see it's a very small purport, but at least we are seeing that very important statements are there. Everyone is searching for prananda or bliss, but in the material world, there cannot be any bliss. This is a very important statement. Second is, attachment for family affairs and devotional service are incompatible because our mind nature is to get attached. So it can be attached only to one thing at a time. It cannot be attached to two things, that I will be attached to my family, I will be attached to Krishna. That is not possible for the mind. Either the mind can be attached to Krishna, or if not, automatically the mind will be attached to the family. If not to the family, it will be attached to their caste, it will be attached to their community, it will be attached to their country, or it will be attached to the environment or society for welfare, charity, something it will be attached. But attachment is the nature of the mind. So if the mind is not attached to Krishna, automatically it will be attached to the family by default. Family or community, sometimes people may not be married, but they'll be attached to their caste people, they'll be attached to their country people. So we are seeing, some people are fighting for the country, some people are fighting for their caste development. So attachment is the basic nature of the mind, and the attachment can be in only one place. Either it can be with the family or extended family, or otherwise it will be with Krishna. By devotional service, what we are trying to do, we are trying to take away the attachment from family, and we are trying to put this attachment to the lotus feet of Krishna. This is what devotional service means. By repeatedly hearing Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, automatically our mind will get appreciation towards Krishna and get attached naturally by chanting. So therefore, Maharaj Parikshit was somewhat surprised to hear that how come Maharaj Priyavrata was simultaneously attached to both. It is not possible, but how how Maharaj Priyavrata was able to attach his mind in both ways, where family life as well as devotion. This was the question or inquisitiveness Maharaj Parikshit had to know about Maharaj Priyavrata, how he was able to handle both. So continuing, we will discuss further what is the answer which Sukadeva Goswami will give in the consecutive verses for Parikshit Maharaj's queries. Hare Krishna. So devotees, please feel free to express any doubts, or if you have any understanding on this, please. Hare Krishna.
I think no doubts, I think, Prabhu.
Okay, so we can go to the next verse.
One second, Prabhu. Thank you for the opportunity. Prabhu, I think affection is okay, but attachment is dangerous.
Yes, affection is natural.
That is natural, that should be there, care should be there. But
yes, but there is a fine borderline, which is
yes,
sometimes we mistake affection to attachment to be affection.
Yes. So we should know how to
sometimes-
distinguish. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very true, bro. Affection is mainly meant for fulfilling the responsibilities and making them also Krishna conscious.
Yes.
Attachment is to blindly support them materially.
Correct, Prabhu.
And only focus
blind
on
love.
material comforts, material securities.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
And Prabhu, and he told that attachment of family affairs and divorce service are incompatible. Yeah, but we can take up family life as a devotion service, like a commitment to.
That is part of affection, no, bro?
Yes, Prabhu. Like
here, attachment means that my family is everything, and I will do everything.
Correct, bro. Like how both can go hand in hand means can consider like Lord needs, even Lord is in ordered Brahma to produce offerings and fill the planets. So
yes.
So by contributing to produce
here, I think that the attachment here mentioned is Grahamedi.
Yes, Prabhu.
So
yes,
what you are highlighting is Grahastha.
Grahastha. Yes.
Yes, agreed, Prabhu.
Yes, and And of course, Grihastha are also required in the society. Whether who will support
Because here
brahmachari?
only Lord Brahma only ordered him to take a family life. No?
Correct, Prabhu. Even
Priyavrata also, he said that you have to accept family life, even though Maharaj Priyavrata was
yes,
not
Prabhu.
interested.
Like Brahma is executing the order of Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord has asked Brahma to fill the planets with offsprings, with
Yes, Prabhu,
creatures.
yes.
So, family life in Krishna consciousness, as you told, Grihastha, that is okay. And we need Grihasthas also, society, to support Brahmacharis, Vanaprasthas.
Yeah, very much. Otherwise, yeah. Their role is very important because they only support the brahmacharis and sannyasis.
And
And that's
Vanaprasthas.
why Krishna is actually not actually what to say, he's not giving that self-control power not to everybody. He's giving only to few people.
Yes.
Because if he will give that, everybody will become brahmacharis.
Yes.
So that one, he made it very challenging because he want everybody to accept grahastha life. He made
Correct.
it very, very, like majority will be always grahastha only.
Yes.
Yes. So,
Hare
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhuji, Grihastha life, like for example, from 25 to 40 years, like when they married and get the children, after some time, 40 plus, they can pull stop to Grihastha ashrama, then has to go for the spirituality. Prabhuji? Vanaprastha.
So not 40, Mataji, 50.
50.
Yeah, up to 50.
These are not exact, Mataji. You need to not doubt that around. Because
Around,
Around.
like approximate. Yeah, 50
not
years.
exactly.
Actually.
Because 1-2 years, 3-4 years, 5-10%, okay.
Yeah. So 50 years, up to 50 years, he said that Vanaprastha. After that, Vanaprastha means husband and wife together, they go to the holy places to develop spiritually. And then, of course, after 60 is sannyas, but again, sannyas is not prohibited in Kali Yuga because people are not qualified to take that. Because people are so much disturbed. So in sanya, grahastha ashram, and then you can, as husband and wife, you can devote more time because
even Vanaprastha can be practiced at home. You hand over the responsibilities to children, and you continue with the devotional service with minimum involvement in household activities.
Yes. Minimum, not household activities, Prabhu. Household activities will be always there. Now our job, our job we can wind up.
Yes.
Because the job takes majority of our time.
Yeah. Working part we should wind up.
Working part can be given for developing that can be replaced with devotional service.
Yes.
So 8 hours we are working in the company. Now 8 hours you have to do the chanting and reading Bhagavatam and doing some seva.
Yes. And olden time they practically used to go near forests and out of town and villages for have a peaceful and congenial environment. But if you can have that at your premises of home, fine. Otherwise, you leave home and stay in ashrams or near forest or pilgrim places.
Yes, very. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, that is clear. Deepti Mataji, I think it is Ratna Mataji, no? Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Correct.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Okay, your own daughter's name today. Yes. Okay. Very good.
So I think, Prabhu, then we can go to the next verse, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Sri Kumar Prabhuji, please continue reading.
Verse number 3.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes. Mahatmam Khalu Viprarshe Uttama Shloka Padayoha Chaya Nirvrida Chittanam Na Kudumbe Sprhamadihi Mahadam Khalu Viprarshe Uttama Shloka Padayoha Chaya Nirvrida Chittanam Na Kudumbe Sprhamadihi. Hare Krishna. Translation purported by His Divine Grace Abhicharana Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Elevated Mahatmas who are taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are fully satiated by the shade of those lotus feet. Their consciousness cannot possibly become attached to family members. Translation once more. Elevated Mahatmas who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are fully satiated by the shade of those lotus feet. Their consciousness cannot possibly become attached to family members. Purport. Srila Narottama Dasa Thakura has sung Nidai Pada Kamala Kodi Chandra Sushitala Ye Chayaya Jagat Judaya. He describes the shade of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda as being so nice and cooling that all materialists who are always in the blazing fire of material activities may come under the shade of his lotus feet and be fully relieved and satiated. The distinction between family life and spiritual life can be experienced by any person who has undergone the tribulations of living with a family. One who comes under the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord never becomes attracted by the activities of family life. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 2.59, Param Drishta Nivartanti. One gives up lower engagements when he experiences a higher place. Thus, one becomes detached from family life as soon as he becomes under the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Continuing again, Parishit Maharaj questions. So this verse and next verse also is a question. Here Parishit Maharaj continues, elevated Mahatmas who have taken the shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are fully satiated by the shade of the lotus feet. So they are very happy because they have taken the shelter of the lotus feet. Their consciousness cannot possibly become attached to family members. So normally, they are not interested much. Even like we also have like practical experience, like we all taken Krishna consciousness, we are practicing something, whatever possible. And when we are going, to our parents' place or relative place, there every time TV will be on and some song, news will be there. But we are seeing, what is this? They are wasting their time. What is there in the seeing TV? We feel like that because our consciousness is not attracted. We are speaking at our level. Our consciousness is not attracted by watching TV. Before coming to Krishna consciousness, maybe we were watching TV, serial or something like that. And our consciousness is no more attracted to watch movies or television programs like that. Same way, the elevated Mahatmas, because they are attached to the Supreme Lord, their consciousness will not be attached to the family life or family members. This is the natural for them. And Prabhupada, we know from Prabhupada life also, even though he fulfilled all the responsibilities for his family members, but he was not much attached. He took sannyas. He was at the age of 60. When he was he took sannyas. So we'll go to the purport. Prabhupada refers from Srila Narottama Das Thakur's bhajan. Nittai pada kamala koti chandra susitala echaya jagat judaya. So he describes the shade, the translation of this verse meaning, it describes the shade of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. Lord who is Lord Nityananda is the incarnation of Lord Balaram, not non-different from Lord Balaram, the first expansion of Sri Krishna. Lord Nityananda is being so nice and cooling that all that is Nittai Pada Kamala, like lotus feet, Nittai Pada. Nityananda lotus feet is like lotus. His feet is like lotus. Koti Chandra Susitala means it is like millions of moon, the soothing effect, so cooling that being so nice that Chayaya Jagat Judaya, they are no more interested in material things. Cooling that all materials who are always blazing in the fire of material activities. We are seeing Samsara Dava, Nalli the Loka. So this Samsara Chakra, it is like a blazing fire. Samsara Sagara, Bhava Sagar. We are always blazing in the fire of material activities, may come under the shade of lotus feet and fully be relieved and satiated. So the problem is given about the material life, and the solution is that we should take at the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. Now, the distinction between family life and spiritual life can be experienced by any person who has undergone the tribulations of living with a family. So we also understand that when we are the family life and we are taking up the spiritual life. So some people, it was said one time happened practically that one of the Brahma or devotees was one boy, actually young boy after college. He has come to this Chaupati temple. There are a lot of brahmacharis. He came and joined as a brahmachari. And the father was very, very upset. He came and he was arguing with the temple president that how come he's a very young boy, you preach something and he became brahmachari. We are all very upset. Please send your boy. Please send the boy with us. No, this is not the age for him to take spiritual life. Spiritual life, like me at the age of 60, 65, we can take, but not at this age of 20 years. So he said like that. And the temple president said, okay, we can, this is a true incident. The temple president said, okay, we will send your boy back to your home. So you said spiritual activities can be taken at the age of chapter 60. So you are now 62. So you come and join the ashram now. You come and join with like that. So then that person said, he said, I have to ask my wife. No, I also. So that is the difference. Here Prabhupada raising the distinction between without her permission, I cannot come. The distinction between family life and spiritual life can be experienced by any person who has undergone the tribulations of living with a family. One who becomes under the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord never becomes attracted by the activities of family life. And that is natural. We already read that. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Param Drishtva Nivartate. This is a secret actually. What is spiritual life? If you want to put what is spiritual life, we can say it is tasting higher taste. In one word, we can say that higher taste. So there are two kinds of taste. One is lower taste and higher taste. This higher taste means when we are connected with the Lord, we experience superior happiness. When we naturally experience higher taste, then we are not interested in lower taste. Prabhupada always tells this example, like somebody is eating only dal and chapati. But what happens? If you tell him to stop eating dal and chapati both are dry, not very tasty. He cannot stop because he's hungry. But if you same person, if you give him a nice thali meals, nice prasadam, if you give and tell him, okay, we'll give you this thali meals from tomorrow onwards, don't take this rice and chapati, he will immediately give up. Sorry, dal and chapati. You tell, yeah, I am fine. This is much better. Same way, like we are staying in a one-bedroom flat, and then we are getting a nice villa to stay. We are very happily vacating the house because we know that something superior we are getting. So same way, if we experience this higher taste in Krishna consciousness, then what happens? We can easily live up this lower taste, which is this material enjoyment. This is alpa sukha, like this is inferior kind of enjoyment. So Krishna consciousness is superior kind. And one time when Prabhupada was there in America, all his disciples were drug addicts. In the initial time, when they joined the movement, they were having a lot of bad habits like drug addiction, something like that. Later, they given up by the power of Krishna consciousness. They become elevated Vaishnavas. So one of the one person, in the beginning stage, he asked, Prabhupada, how is his Krishna conscious experience? He said, Prabhupada want to explain in this same time that, you are taking like 1 dose of LSD. Imagine you take 100 doses of LSD at the same time. How do you feel that ecstasy? That is actually that you can little bit compare with the ecstasy experienced in Krishna consciousness. It's a higher taste. So one gives up lower engagements when he experiences a higher taste. So thus one becomes detached from family life as soon as he comes under the shelter of lotus feet of the Lord. So this is the natural thing, either material attachment or spiritual attachment. Either one, as long as one attachment will increase, the other one will decrease, inversely proportional. Even the spiritual progress will be higher, then the material things naturally will come down. Because at the time we are departing from this world, we have to be detached completely from this material world. If Prabhupada says, even if a pinch of attachment you have for this material world, you have to take up another body. Because Krishna wants to fulfill your desire, he will give you another body. So you should not have kind of any desire. We should not have any kind of attachment when we are living this body. At least by that stage, we should be fully detached. That's why this gradual training is there for detachment. Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So the whole process of this Varnashrama Dharma is to gradually develop the detachment. instantly not possible. Gradually develop the detachment so that before leaving this body, will be completely detached and will be attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. And then by when you are living the thought of Krishna, yam yam api smaran bhavam, then we attain the Supreme Lord for the spiritual world. So this is a gradual process. We should understand, even though we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we should know it is not an instant process. It is a gradual process, steady process. By repeatedly hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, we may not be detached now from family life. It is not so easy also. But by regularly in connection with the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, chanting, association with devotees, our mind will take, by over the years to come, gradually will become detached. And by the time we reach 45, 50, 55, 60, we will be much more progressed in devotional service. And our attachment to this material world will be much more diminished. And the moment you are intensifying your sadhana after 50, 45, 50, like that, quicker will be the result. And by the time you leave this body, you will be fully attached to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Okay, so that is the whole focus of this one. For someone, maybe the detachment may be early also, because they are already this is spiritual life in the previous life. For somebody, it may be little gradual also. So we should not be demotivated by, or this means not lose hope that, oh, still I am attached to the material world. But by connecting with this process and regularly practicing the sadhana, one day we will become very elevated stage, and purified stage, and completely detached. So that hope is always there in devotional service. That is the power of devotional service. Any person at any stage is taking devotional service, gradually he will come to that stage of perfection. So Prabhupada gives an example like a dry mango and the ripened mango. The dry mango is also there in the tree, but as long as the mango is connected to the tree, one day it will become ripened and it will become very sweet. So the process is to be in connection and to do the sadhana every day. By that we can achieve the desired result in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. So it's 10:30 now. So any questions, comments on this verse we can discuss. Hare Krishna. And I think tomorrow maybe we will not, Sudarshan was there, Prabhu. Maybe tomorrow we have this special session, no? You want to keep the Bhagavatam study? Or?
We will not read, Prabhu. We will not read. Devotees can read their own.
Okay. And day after tomorrow we can rescue.
Yeah, those who are in Kanayades, they are requested to join at 8:30 at Jayapataka Hall.
Yeah.
And those who are away and those who are on duty or job, they are requested to read their own. Okay, either continuation of this individually or their own subject like a Bhagavad Gita or some other text. So we will not have this online reading.
Yes, and Thursday is Ekadasi. That day we can read maybe little extra time also, if
yes,
time permits.
No problem. If everybody is willing,
we can have like a little more dose, like maybe 1 hour, 1.5 hours. Whoever is there, they can be there. If everybody agrees, we can read little extra time.
That is when, Prabhu?
Ekadasi, Thursday.
Thursday is Ekadasi, not Wednesday, no? Yes, yes.
No, yeah, Wednesday is our program tomorrow.
Our program, yes.
So Thursday will be Ekadasi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we can read more, no problem. Or we can have.
And whatever we left yesterday, tomorrow, that we can be compensated on Thursday. Yes.
And Prabhu, even we all should have our own individual reading every day.
Yeah, correct. Agreed.
Okay, so that the devotees can select their own time, half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, how much ever is possible. Okay.
Yes.
Don't always wait for the group reading, because every time we cannot join, and we should have our own, personal efforts and attempts also. Of course, in the association of devotees, chanting and kirtan and reading are more nectarian, but we should be able to pursue our own efforts also. Hare Krishna, because we expect everyone in this assembly to lead reading Srimad Bhagavatam, teaching Srimad Bhagavatam. If not today, very soon. Okay. That is what our expectation. We want to produce preachers, teachers. Of course, many of you are already, if not in this subject, some other subjects, we can convert that, to spiritual subjects. Hare Krishna. One thing I want to say that Prabhu told, Lord has decided a path for everyone. Of course, He always permits us to march forward, no doubt. Like I was thinking that Garhastya Grihasthashram is a must. I did not know that without Grihasthashram one can enter in full-time spiritual life. So Lord has set some plan. And of course, with our free will, we can accelerate. As Srila Prabhupada told, it takes only 1 minute to become Krishna consciousness, and it takes only seconds to progress also, provided we are focused. You need not give up your job. You need not give up, to spend less time with family, with society, or organizations, or your other aspects. No, everything will be taken care of by the Lord. And as if one has taken a Grihasthashram, then he has to complete it, fulfill, at least till the time children are settled, like girls married and boys have their
Very
income.
important point.
Yes, very
We are
important.
accepted the responsibility we should fulfill.
Yeah, because marriage is also an oath, a pledge that you take care of family. In between, you are not supposed to leave. Then that is not bhakti. That is running away from responsibility. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shogana Prabhuji, for.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, tomorrow Abbas is also one program, Yatra, right?
Prabhu,
Abbas,
actually,
program
they are
is